One, two, three, four, five. Okay. You guys should be hearing me, seeing me, and welcome. Let me know. I have a feeling that my mic might be a little bit low, but you guys can let me know about that and see if we can maybe boost it a little bit. Anyway, welcome everybody. I got audio. Okay, sweet. Oops, I got the chat in the wrong spot here, but that's okay. Um, Hi, everybody. Welcome to my Monday night. Say hello to everybody. A lot of you are shy like me, but it's cool to see the same, faces and names and people showing up. And, I know some of you, a lot of you actually in real life. And I'm still trying to memorize your, sorry, I'm getting this so I can see the comments. I'm still trying to memorize all your names, um, your handles anyway. With me, as always, is my housemate and friend Sheila. She's stretching out on the exercise roller right now, getting loose for class. Oh, Remy, sweet. So we are jumping a little bit later than I like. I really appreciate your patience. I hope you understand that. Really, it's there's just a lot to keep up with, and whatever stuff happens. But I want you to know, and I think you guys know this. If you've ever been to one of my workshops, I take everything as far as production like really seriously. And so I start setting up for these classes at like 4 in the afternoon here, like for 3 hours. And inevitably just something slows me up or delays me. So I'm sorry about that. So tonight well, one thing just in general, I just want to keep saying that your donations mean a lot to me and they are keeping this alive, and so I really appreciate you doing that. Um, the stream is what it is now. I think this is the best that I can get it. There's free stuff I can do, but for the most part, your donations are helping me stay afloat right now, and so I really appreciate it, and I hope you feel good about the exchange. I know a lot of you like to send like big one time or well, not one time, but sort of big payments or whatever, and I think it just in fairness to you that I plan on live streaming 2 classes. I don't know about the jam, but 2 classes every week for at least 6 more weeks. So if you haven't donated and you want to donate and you want to sort of pledge to help keep it going, I promise we're nowhere close to my last class here. Um, Tonight I wanted to kind of teach this class in honor of one of my best friends, Julia Hartzell. I have known Julia for like I think I met her when I was 20 years old, you know, and I'm 26 now, so that's a long time. But seriously, I'm 46 now, and I've known her longer and consistently more than anybody else. And we've in our friendship have just gone through it and have just had we've been bitter rivals, we've been best friends, and everywhere back and forth. And I really think that, she's one of the people. There's a few, but there's just one. She's one of the people in my life who, like, when we met, our essences just sort of knew that we could learn a lot from the other one. And then our sort of bodies, the conditioned part, thought, well, okay, well, let's date and see if that happens. And we did date, and like she was a very significant girlfriend of mine for a long time, like many years. And ultimately, though, the relationship, we moved on. And I think that when we moved on, that we actually freed up that connection between our essences, that like the modality of romantic partnership had kind of limited for us, what that real love could be, which is why I'm like a big fan. If you can, if they haven't hurt you so bad, if you can be friends with your exes, there's this like huge powerful ally there who loves you but isn't in love with you, and they give you the best advice. And so I wanted to honor her tonight because it's her birthday, by teaching techniques inspired by her namesake within the Maidan story, which is Julah the Quiet. Now, I want to be really clear. Julah the Quiet has nothing to do with Julia Hartzell as far as the techniques I teach and as far as the stories that I tell. And Julia Hartzell actually has connected to Julah the Quiet in a way. And so she might know that character even better than me. And yeah, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Sharon. I'm glad I'm not just on an island out here with this X thought talk. But anyway, Julia inspired, like Julia in a way is responsible for much of the whole Maidan story. I can give you all this in 1 minute. Like, she started selling hoops. I was doing a hoop project. It's a long story, but one of the things as she got into hooping, I would watch her and I was like, oh man, there should be a video game. And Julia was already calling herself Julah, like hula, Julah, hoops. And so there was Julah hoops. And so I was like, oh man, it would be great if there was a video game where, this woman, just a regular looking woman, like not wearing like micro outfits and stuff, but just a regular woman, young girl especially, would go around and she could time travel and she could go to all of these sort of like bad places like animal testing facilities and toxic dumpers, and she would fight these bad guys with her hoop, and her name was going to be Julah, right? And so then when Julia and I parted ways, that idea of a video game really stuck with me, and I think it kind of inspired me to start thinking about what would be Julia's backstory, what would be her origin story. And I think in some ways, like the searching for that origin story led me to the Maidan. And so, it's, it's, I'm very comfortable with Julia Hartzell being the namesake of the woman that ultimately like led me to a deeper knowledge of myself. So I hope that's not too much to take in. We're going to move into our class now, and in honor of Julah the Quiet, we're going to be quiet. Actually, uh-oh. I kicked the class. Okay, I hope you guys can hear me. And I'm gonna do some cool stuff tonight with switching camera angles and stuff, and I hope it works. All right, I tried it at the gym, it seemed to work, so here we go. All right. All right. Audible breath in. One of the magical things that happens with the myth for me is how they sometimes speak to me, these stories, in new ways that I never saw coming because of the situation I'm in. When I saw that it was Julia's birthday, I felt moved to let Julah teach the class. But I thought, I have been so angry lately. I have been so non-quiet lately. I've been so afraid lately that how could I possibly pretend to tap into a character so at peace, so calm, so comfortable in silence. And then I understood for the 1 millionth time what the stories and what all stories are about. tell a story of Julah, I start to become Julah. The more I imagine her deep, brown, forgiving eyes, fixed and focused, as if there was no other thing in the world, on whomever she was listening to. I see the light of kindness in her eyes that made young Maidan spill their guts to her. And they felt no judgment, because there was no judge there. Julah the Quiet's greatest gift was that she could quite easily let go of herself. It was on her that the Maidan held all their hope. Audible breath in. Audible breath in. Julah used to joke that it was funny that they called her the Quiet, because in her world everything was very loud. She could hear so well that an insect moving across a leaf grabbed her attention. Like a lot of Maidan, Julah would dance in the wind so that she could listen to it, so that she could be there for it to speak. And speak to her in her physical ears, but also speak to her in her mind and in her heart. Julah knew to listen without expectations so that she could be there. Audible breath in. When I used to teach on the road, I used to believe that as I told these stories, that Julah Audible breath in. Oh, do you need to bow out? Okay, that's cool. Okay. All right. All right. What is it? Oh, sweet. Welcome, Kelly. Facebook up and running. Also, mic is low compared to music. Okay, well, we'll fix that. That's easy, I think, to fix. All right, that should bring it up a lot, hopefully. And we'll give it a little push here, too. All right, so. Okay, cool. So what did you guys think of the whole sway circling around thing? So sometimes this happens. Sheila is not feeling that good. She was kind of pushing herself to try and make class, so um, it's gonna be showing you some of her cameras. But whatever. I know you guys don't care. Okay. All right. So let's get back into our point technique. Let me make sure. Oops. It looks like I kicked this guy. Oh, I did. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about point technique. Oh, I remember now what I was going to do. Yeah. Forgive me, y'all. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Thank you, guys. Okay. All right. Point technique. For those of you who are taking class for the first time, I doubt it, but let me know if this is better for the mic, by the way. I can definitely crank it up. Okay. I was feeling Julah's spirit just now. The context of her character. Point technique was a technique that Julah and the rest of the Maidan would use to take the temperature of a place. A space within, or a space outside of themselves. A space between themselves and another. If you haven't done it before, sometimes it can be tough to find its rhythm. And everyone has different ways of connecting to point technique. Julah's way was very much like Anah's way. And what Julah liked to do was sit with the hoop, like perhaps in third eye. And then allowing the wind to just slowly, I'm going to skip my mic, slowly move the hoop. And Julah would imagine that her turning was the wind turning. Julah's touch in point was always very gentle. She knew how to do all the things, but the type of touch that really helped Julah find home was gentle, graceful, unhurried. One of the things I like to do with point is to use it to explore my range of motion. With no one looking, I place this plastic circle on my hand and I move around my range of motion. And as I move around my range of motion, I feel that range of motion differently with the weight of the hoop there. In fact, probably only because the hoop is there have I even thought to move my hands behind my back. I wanted to start the music slow tonight so that you could feel point technique. Julah moved very patiently in point technique. She was much more sensual than flashy. She liked subtlety. She was your hoop friend that wants to hoop at the back of the crowd. There are three main variations of point technique. Hanging, like leaves hanging from a tree or fruit hanging from a branch. There is flying, and flying is, I've got a different song for flying. Flying point technique is when we move the hoop fast enough that it takes flight. Julah liked repetitive techniques. She could really lose herself, could hypnotize herself by doing the same thing or the same technique over and over and over. truthfully, I don't know if Julia ever lived a boring day in her life. Right, absolutely. Sarah, great comment. This is two-point technique, and it's when I have two hands or two arms or an arm and a shoulder or any 2 points of contact. And this is the flying version of that. This is the non-turning flying version, like if you're prone to get dizzy. If you're prone to get dizzy, but you like the idea of, actually, this might be better in my, well, let's keep it. If you're prone to getting dizzy, but you want to feel the flight of the hoop, you can swing the hoop out. I'm way here, and I swing it out, get some flight on it, and then bring it down. Right? And I can do it kind of without a whole lot of flight. This is me just bouncing with no loop in the middle. Audible breath in. Julah grew up listening to all the stories of Saza and all of her magical moon and sun dances. And the story that Julah as a child remembered the most about Saza was that in one of her dances with the moon, where she had pulled it out of the sky and was dancing with it, she stepped through it. And when she stepped through, everything that had been light was dark, and everything that was dark was light. And it wasn't dark as in dark energy. It was like it was being illuminated by a different type of light. On her own in the woods, fighting to stay alive, she would imagine that story, and when night would fall, she would step into the moon. She felt as though she could see as the owls do, she could hear as the mice do, because they were living on moonlight, not sunlight. I'm doing point technique right now. I'm using only a point of contact without any grip to move and be moved by the hoop. Hanging. Me, point technique started off as kind of an impersonation of Tai Chi. But what I came to love about it was like the pace that it put me in. I liked. I used to drive around sports cars everywhere, and every time I get in a sports car, I'd want to go fast. And then I got a big pickup truck when I got out of art school, and it's just kind of fun to go slow. And that's what this technique is like for me. It's an excuse to go slow, to take the big cruiser out, and to be with Julah spirit. One technique that helps some people find their flow with point technique is called pivot and push. And that is when the hoop is hanging. If I push it with another arm and it moves, I create movement, and this becomes a pivot point. So the point of contact, if I push it, can be a pivot. And I can pivot myself around, right? Hugging the hoop to you. See that nice flow? Ask yourself, well, then what do I do? Well, you just dance. You just react. Totally lost, let me know. Hopefully you're off in bliss land. One cool thing that you can teach yourself is with this pivot idea is just how to feel the hoop pivot around. And it would be better if I was in the bird's eye cam. There we go. Thank you, computer. But if I just push the hoop around, I'm allowing it to walk on the back of my hand. I like how slow I can go in point. My hoops are still big enough that they touch my legs, and I like how I can use my legs to help push the hoop around. Because it's slow, it's simple for my body to do it. All I have to do is remember that some part of me needs to stay under the hoop. Honestly, this used to be my favorite thing on the road, was to watch people especially over the years, like my New York crew and others, just take point into all these beautiful directions I could have never have imagined. And move so authentically with it. All right. You can grab some water. I'm going to make a music switch because I actually just realized how much I dig that album. Okay, yeah, so we got a little chaos coming on, but this is all right. Yeah. Let's see here. Work. Okay. I hope you guys are still with me. Usually when you're not making comments, it's good. Okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit about 2-point, but not the traditional kind that we've been doing, but creating locks and holds on the hoop, you know, in maybe the not so obvious places like the other hand. And you can get some cool things happening when you can create, well, they're called 1-tree 2-point locks, but don't worry too much about that. But when you can create a hold on the hoop with just the sort of curves and things of your arm. Actually, let me pull this off just for a second. Yeah, let's, because I want to show you guys, give you the benefit of all the angles. Here we go. Craziness. Okay. All right. So this is a tradition, or what I usually teach you guys as far as 2-point. What I'm asking you to do is to use one arm instead to create 2 points of contact. And so if I'm holding the hoop here, my arm's going to come in like this, right? And I'm going to push up with my hand. I have kind of wonky arms. And then I'm going to pull back, and as I pull back, kind of, I'll be holding the hoop, okay? So I'm holding the hoop with my left hand if you want to do it with me, and I'm going to come in here, kind of like a snake, and push up here. And then as I bend my elbow, and you can use the other hand to keep it there, but as I bend my elbow, I'm going to send the hoop into the crook of it, right? Into that point there on the hoop. Okay. So this is called a 2-point hold. And I can put them anywhere. But what I like to do is hold them here and teach myself this hold. And then I can go and try to create the other hold, or the hold in the other hand, and just come right back to it again. This time my left arm, and I come in here, boom. And I'm just going to tuck it in. I'm going to keep my hand there until I get it in there. And it's pretty magical. Like, you feel very sort of ninja-like when you do it. And then if you know how to do the switch from here, you can go ahead and do the switch. But for most of you, I'm imagining this is kind of like the first time you're really playing with some of this. I hope you guys can hear me. And so if I start to bring that slow, yummy point pace, I can go ahead and, instead of like having to nail it perfectly, I can move the hoop into these holds slowly and on the chill style. You'll be pushing that elbow out. And you can really develop a really, of course I'm wearing them. All right, so you can develop learn to develop a pretty good hold with this. Like I'm spinning around. I am using my hand to help me hold this in place. But for you black belts that are watching, this is a move I'm sure you guys probably are already doing, but it's this hold, and then my fingers have to kind of slip out a little bit. Boom, boom. And then I can hold it pretty much at whatever speed. Let you play with this for a second, and then I'm going to add a few more things. Well, this is one that these are fun ways to hold the hoop, finding a portion of the body. I've seen really flexible people do some really cool things with two-point technique. All right, I want to show you one more different one, and again, some people probably already do these. Maybe they have a name in the hoop world and I don't know about it, but whatever. So this hold, well, this is what it looks like. Okay, and to get in it, I'm going to hold the hoop, and I'm holding it in my left hand, so it's on my other side. I'm just going to stick my arm in, right, and then I'm going to push back and then tuck the hand right here. And it might take some adjustment, but then I can let go, and I've got the hoop held there. Okay. All right. So I can grip it with my left hand, right? I'm holding it this way. Left hand. My right hand's going to reach in, come around, and then hold the hoop there. I can flip it up and do it the other way. No. I always get asked by people, why would you do this? But hopefully some of you have already done this move and you know how useful it can be, but it can really help you, like if you want to stop a roll, like if I'm in a vertical roll, I'm rolling the hoop this way and I want to put a break on it. Very Julah the quiet move, right? Lots of chaos. Those of you on the workshop scene of mine, you might see if I can get this any better. All right. Some of you on the workshop scene of mine, I was going to see if this camera would actually help me out here. Being a jerk. Okay, this might help you. All right, so I'm here. Okay. So I'm holding this in 2-point, and I reach out across with my 2-point one tree, and I reach out and make contact with my hand, with my fingers pointing down, back of the hand. It's going to look like that. And I'm going to let go of this 2-point position here, just nice and gently let go of it. The hoop is going to swing out, and I'm going to pull it back in to this 2-point position again that we just were doing. Okay? So I'm going from here, swing the hoop out, and then bring it back to the other side. So here. I can't see if the bird's wait, maybe the bird's I'll help you on this one. Sorry. Okay, hopefully that hasn't been the case all night. Please tell me my mic has been on this whole fucking time. Oh my god. Oh my god, Julah would be so disappointed in me right now. Hopefully my mic has been on. Okay, cool. I think y'all just missed a very little bit of info here. I wanted to do one more exercise. And I know that we're kind of running in late. Can you hear me now? I hope you guys can hear me now on this mic situation here. Yeah. I don't think I think I just turned it off just for a hot second, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so one more thing I wanted to do with you, and you can drill while you do this too. But in the space of, or in the honor of sort of Julah the Quiet and what she does, and it's probably not surprising to you that her absolute favorite way to hoop, although she loved a lot of things, was actually in total silence. And it made her very unusual to the Maidan. They liked beats, they liked movement to sound and flute, and I wouldn't say Julah didn't like those things, but she found a real peace in listening to the noise that she made with the noise around her. And so she would usually just start moving until she heard her own music. She would hear her music first as muscle memory, but then she would try to listen a little closer. So I realize this might not be attainable where you are, but we're going to move for 2 solid minutes without music, just to see if you can relate to Julah at all. We'll start with an audible breath in. Thank you, everybody, for tonight. Yeah, that's what happened. Oh. Oh no. Did I hit? Okay, guys, for some reason the computer stopped playing sound. I don't know. Okay, that is not what I want right now. Okay, my computer is being really, really weird right now, and I don't know why. Huh. You're welcome, guys. I think it's so cute that you guys put up with this tragedy of effort sometimes. Oh, sweet, Sharon. Good. Nice, Sharon. I actually have had the exact same experience. I know exactly what you're talking about. Right? Absolutely, Sarah. Absolutely. You know, it's funny because, as we take care of ourselves more and more and live higher quality lives, do you think we'll ever even think about how many times we've dropped the hoop? Do you think it will ever even occur to us all the moves we couldn't do when years from now we still feel good and want to be alive? So this is our free hoop now, and we'll just be calling it a night after this. I had a little bit of camera changes. Usually things are a little bit more dialed in than this. This is going to be the last song of the night, guys. Thank you very much. I'm behind the words over here. But anyway, so appreciate it. I so look forward to teaching you guys every week. And to those of you on my replay audience, I appreciate you checking it out. I see that you're showing up the next day, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you, guys.